escorted by fellow graduate Julia Nixon. Cassie Kyle, escorted by fellow graduate Dan Schmidt. Tamara Knapp, escorted by Logan Fondoulet. Jocelyn Larson. Alex Moore. Jordan Moore, escorted by Alex Miller. Parker Namath, escorted by Kaylee Kuntz. Ryan Queenan, escorted by Destiny Blaser. Callie Shirley, escorted by Matthew Sherman. Jessica Sherwood, escorted by Caitlin McDougall. Sierra Siebert, escorted by Brooklyn Siebert. Ladies and gentlemen, presenting Robert Southey School's graduating class of 2021. Your families are extremely proud of you. You can't imagine the sense of relief they are experiencing right now. This would be a good time to ask for money. Now I would like to take this opportunity to welcome our distinguished guests this evening, Mrs. Lisa Grodnitzky, Board Member for Prairie Valley School Division, Mr. Luke Lermenu, Director of Education for Prairie Valley School Division. Welcome. Graduation is about reaching a milestone. A milestone is a significant event in your life. Milestone literally refers to a roadside marker that lists the distance to a particular location. Well, grade 12s, you've gone the distance. Every one of you seated here on stage has shown resilience this past year in the face of a changing landscape. You've worked through this together, and I'm very proud of you. But as we try to justify just how much our lives have had to change over the last 15 months, excuses have risen in demand, both reasonable and not so reasonable. Some excuses are valid and some are not, are more far-fetched. In grade 12s, some of you mastered the art of ridiculousness. So I have a short list. I'm only going to read a few of them, but I want to go through a few this evening that I have questions about and some of the maybe epic fail excuses that you've used over the past year. To begin, Tyson Zurowski. I'm just wondering if the senior doors were at the other end of the school, would you still drive to school? And would you still be late? Not a good excuse. Another excuse I've heard, being late after lunch because mom was late making it for me. Fail. Being late after lunch because mom was late making lunch for me and because I'm a farmer, so I need to take the required 20-minute snooze before I go back to work. Sorry I'm late. I was shearing my sheep and I lost track of time. Okay, that happens. Sorry, I was also late yesterday. The goats got loose and, well, you know, nothing good comes from that. Okay, those are just a few to begin. With that, we'll begin our formal part of the program tonight with greetings from our school community council. The council sent a letter, which I will read. The Robert Southey School SCC wants to wish you the wisdom to overcome the challenges that may come your way, the confidence to believe in yourself, and the opportunity to become everything you have ever dreamed. Be proud of all the work you've done, the person you are, and the difference that you will make. Find your own path, find your own place, and always be you. Graduation is only the beginning. Congratulations, class of 2021. Sent from our SCC chair, Jamie Konechny. With that, our principal, Ms. Kathleen Istash, will now address this year's graduating class.
Good evening, graduates, parents, and honored guests. My heart is happy for all of you today as we celebrate your graduation. Although this event isn't taking exactly the same form as it has in other years, my hope is that today's celebration of your accomplishments is every bit as joyful and happy as you dreamed graduating from high school would be. The blessing of good health is something we do not take lightly or for granted, as we now appreciate the distinction about the time before COVID-19 and after COVID-19. The world we know it, as we know it, will never be the same. Your leadership, compassion, and talents are greatly needed in a world that now recognizes the need for human kindness and connection in a whole new light. This year has presented challenges that no class before you has ever had to face. Periods of remote learning, self-isolation, masking, cohorting, social distancing, and hand sanitizing were surely not part of your vision for your final year of high school. Most deflating for staff and students, as well as for your parents and families, was the postponement of extracurricular activities. This was the year for you to be in the starting lineup for your team and to get the lead role in the school drama. You, along with your staff advisors and coaches, have missed that feeling of camaraderie that comes from riding home on the bus after a football win on a Friday night, spending the weekend at a volleyball or a football tournament, or a basketball tournament in a gym full of enthusiastic and competitive athletes, or the thrill of the curtain going up before a performance that you have prepared so thoroughly to deliver. Both your families and our school staff have wished that we could wave a magic wand and make the COVID virus nothing but a distasteful memory. I want to thank you for your leadership in our extracurricular programming throughout your high school years. And I hope that when you think back on your memories of time spent training, rehearsing, and playing for teams and clubs at RSS, it brings a smile to your face. You've made a difference in our school, and you've provided leadership for those who follow in your footsteps. That is a legacy you can be proud of as the class of 2021. My family and my staff will tell you I believe strongly in the old adage that you can view your glass as half full or half empty, and either way you have the same amount of water. I've always believed in the power of positivity and thinking through one's perspective on situations to look for the good. This year I was intrigued by a take on that old saying, which proposes that we might not know some days in this mess of a pandemic if our glass is half full or half empty, but we can focus on being glad that we even had the glass. What are the elements that contribute to us still having the glass? I believe that one factor is that our schools were open this year and our senior students were able to pursue their grade 12 studies. There are some locations in the world where students haven't been able to attend class since March of 2020. Being able to be together at school was the highlight of many of our days, and through careful planning and continual cleaning by our custodians, in-person learning was a reality for most of the school year. We were also blessed with the capabilities of technology. Although remote learning online was not without its own challenges, technology allowed us to keep connected as learners and to move forward in our curriculum. 29 years ago, at the start of my teaching career, I would have never dreamed that classes could be held via Google Meets and students could submit assignments virtually in a matter of seconds. Your generation has taught mine much about the power of technology and the impact that it can have. Technology also afforded many of us some contact with our family and our loved ones. There were times when we felt lonely, but that allowed us to maintain our connections with those who mean the most to us. Another contributor to hanging on to the glass was the love and support that each of you have received from your family. They have been there this year and throughout your life, offering support, guidance, and encouragement. You have probably spent more Friday and Saturday nights at home with your family this year than ever before. And yet this family time has also been a gift that may have literally and figuratively brought you closer together than ever before. One final contributor to having the glass firmly in hand this year was your resilient spirit. You made it. You are on the other side of this crazy experience, and you are still standing. Your perseverance and determination has allowed you to survive and thrive despite the odds stacked against you, and that is testament to who you are as individuals. You held that glass this year, despite the splishes and splashes of water that threatened to spill over the glass. Maybe that's why so many of you have switched to drinking slushies from the co-op. They tend to be a little more solid than plain old water in the glass. No doubt one of the questions most asked of you throughout this year is, what do you want to be? You have chosen classes, stepped up for volunteer experiences over the years, and picked out post-secondary options, all based on that very important question. I recently read Caleb Dahlgren's autobiography, Crossroads. As a survivor of the Humboldt Bronco bus crash, he offers much food for thought in his book with regards to weathering adversity. Growing up as a juvenile type 1 diabetic, losing a beloved trainer at an early age, living away from his parents as a teenager with billet families while his father battled life-threatening illness, and losing 16 teammates and the Humboldt Bronco staff who formed the very fabric of his life, Caleb is no stranger to adversity. From childhood, he was always clear about what he wanted to be, an elite hockey player headed for a successful career as a university athlete. As I read his book, however, I was struck by a deeper theme that has always been part of Caleb's life in both good times and bad times, and that is the question of, who do you want to be? He speaks of one of his first trainers, Chad, who taught him about being generous and kind, and how those traits are as important as the hard work that he needed to put in to achieve his dream. Caleb lives his mantra that life is not just about the success that you want to have, but the type of person that you want to be. Caleb's actions throughout his young lifetime speak clearly of the person he is, from organizing weekly floor hockey nights with a local special needs group home, to coaching young hockey players weekly who without his volunteer time would not have been able to access a hockey team. picking up his Humboldt taxi crew of special fans on his way to the rink every week so they could attend every single Holmes game, and founding Dahlgren's Diabetes, a group of youth living with juvenile diabetes who have benefited from having Caleb as a role model and knowing that he understands their frustrations growing up as an active kid while having diabetes. Caleb's actions show the world who he is as a person, and when he suddenly found himself in a place where what he wanted to be had to change, the foundation of who he was in the world carried him through the adversity and the rebirth of an altered career plan. Caleb says it best when he shares, "I shifted my perception to find the positives arising out of this tragedy. I couldn't control what happened on that day, so I focused on the things I could control, like my own actions, my attitude, integrity, values, and work ethic, plus how I treated others. As each of you move into this next phase of your life on your journey to what you will be, I offer the following food for thought for you to consider who you will be in the world and what your actions and words will tell the world about what you stand for. The Humboldt Bronco Creed, written by Caleb's late coach, Darcy Hogan, and painted on their dressing room wall, is an excellent reminder to all of us to focus on who we want to be each and every day. It reads, "Family first. To treat my teammates and coworkers with respect, to be thankful for the opportunity to wear the Bronco jersey, to play each game and practice with passion and determination, to conduct ourselves with honesty and integrity, to treat all volunteers, billets, sponsors, and fans with respect and gratitude, to understand that we are building the foundation for future generations with our words and our actions, to always hope and believe that everything is possible, to always give more than you take, and to strive for greatness in all areas of life." On behalf of the staff at Robert Southey School, I want to extend best wishes to each of you on reaching this graduation milestone. The COVID-19 pandemic has made circumstances difficult and disappointing, but it can't take away the 13 years you have invested in yourselves and your education. It does not diminish the significance of achieving your grade 12 diploma, and it doesn't lessen the pride that your parents and teachers feel for each of you for graduating from high school. Cherish the memories you've made at RSS. Be grateful every day that you hold the glass, despite how much water it might contain, and focus on who you want to be as much as what you want to be. Please know that your school is proud of you and the legacy that you leave in our midst by making it through this unprecedented school year. We are incredibly proud of who you are.
Here representing the PVSD Board of Education is Mrs. Lisa Gradzinski. I'm so sorry. And the wind's getting the better of me here too. I'd like to call on her at this time to share her message from the
Thank you. Good evening, graduates, parents, friends, family, school staff, elders, and dignitaries. It is my sincere pleasure and honor to be here at Robert Southey School, bringing greetings on behalf of the Prairie Valley School Division Board of Education. It doesn't seem like long ago when I was where you are today, and for some of you, I was sitting alongside a parent, an aunt, or an uncle. It's a true honor to stand alongside all of you today. As I reflect on the dramatic events that have taken place here and around the globe in the past year, an ancient curse rings in my ears. May you live in interesting times. These have been interesting times. We have been asked to adapt to changing practices and norms. We've had to learn new things, how to wash our hands effectively, how far away 2 meters is, how to have a meaningful conversation with a loved one on Zoom, how to live without the supportive touch of a grandparent. These were tough lessons, but we learned them and we survived, which makes your accomplishment all that more special, all that more unique, all that more impressive. Graduates, even in the most ordinary of times, it takes grit, determination, and perseverance to earn a high school diploma. It's always a significant achievement, even more so now. Our school division is immensely proud of you have become, the critical thinking skills you now possess, your problem-solving capacity, and your leadership skills. Now you can take these skills and change the world in your own special, meaningful, and utterly unique way. This is a time of excitement and celebration. However, I urge you to pause and reflect on your time at Robert Southey School. Reflect on the lessons you have learned here, the friendships you've made, and the experiences you have shared. They will guide you for a lifetime. Treasure them. Your high school experiences are an important ballast for you in a world where there are too many people drifting without a rudder, without an obvious course in this ever-changing world. A special thank you to our teachers and staff, especially this year. You have guided these students through this crucial part of their lives. To the parents and guardians, thank you for continuing to believe in these students. I'm sure there were times when they gave you every reason not to believe in them. However, you persevered and continue to remind your children about the value of a strong education. In closing, I'll offer my personal best wishes to all graduates on this important day. May you always be like me, Prairie Valley proud, Prairie Valley humble, and Prairie Valley strong. I'm very proud to say that based on this sample, the future of Saskatchewan looks to be in very good hands. I'll leave you with the words of Melinda Gates. She gave this important advice to Stanford's graduating class of 2014. Take your genius and your optimism and your empathy and go change the world in ways that will make millions of others optimistic as well. Thank you for your time, graduates. Please enjoy this special day and know that the Prairie Valley School Division is so proud of you. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Grudzinski. Well, it sure is a lovely evening. Kind of thirsty, though. Wish I had a Slurpee. Hey, Mrs. Istash, you're not busy right now, are you?
Oh, no,
Would you mind running to the co-op and getting me a Slurpee?
Sure.
I don't think anyone would mind. Just take a few minutes. We're not really busy. Doing anything important? Oh, you know what? I forgot. I found this in the back of Parker's truck. Oh. It's all good now. Bet you wish you had one, don't ya? Nope, going for a Slurpee at 2 o'clock in the afternoon is not a good excuse to be late. Even if your mom calls and says it's okay. Another excuse? Miss, I don't like to read, so it doesn't really matter if I come to class. I said, but it's English class. We read a lot. Let me rephrase, miss. I don't read books. Don't matter, none, no how, anyway. Graduates Tamara Knapp and Jocelyn Larson wrote a tribute to the parents. I'd like to call on Tamara to come and give the tribute.
Dear parents and guardians, thank you for inspiring us to always strive towards our goals and supporting us throughout our adolescence. We never would have grown into the young adults we are today without your love and guidance. And a huge thanks for sitting through endless performances during our spring and Christmas concerts, even though there were so many more productive tasks you could have been doing. Thank you for hauling us to hockey practices, cheering us on at ball games, and supporting us through the often good but sometimes poor choices we tend to make. The time you sacrifice for our benefit will never go unnoticed. I'm sure you are just as glad and proud to see us up here as we are to be approaching the next chapter in our lives, which we are sure you'll be just as much of an influence on. There is no amount of thanks that would ever begin to cover all that you've done for us. Thank you. Sincerely, grad class of 2021.
Thanks, Tamara. Well, I'm not sorry I'm late, but I'm late because I don't want to be here today. What if we both just go home and call it a day? I won't tell anybody. But Mrs. McDermott, I know you're new, so I'll tell you. It's Friday. We don't work on Fridays. Well, at the co-op. Sorry I'm late. I had the unfortunate predicament of being stuck in the trunk of a car at lunch. Oh, wait, I wasn't supposed to tell that story. I'd now like to call on graduate Cassie Kyle to give a special introduction. Oh, I'd like to call on Dan Schmidt to give a special introduction. I'm sorry, my notes are mixed up. Dan Schmidt to give a tribute to the staff. The wind is throwing me off. Hopefully that works for you.
Good evening. I'm Dan Schmidt, and I have the honor of acknowledging Robert Southey School staff on behalf of our graduating class of 2021. After years together, we say goodbye to a school that has managed to become our second home and where we have become family. To our teachers and staff, you believed in each and every one of us and continued to encourage us to reach our potentials, even if we needed to be convinced sometimes. We sincerely want to justify your collective efforts and reach the heights to which you have pushed us towards. You have shown us how to be successful in school. Now we will take those skills and use them to be successful adults. Thank you, Robert Southey School, teachers and staff. We will miss you. We will forever remember our good times, those few bad times, our COVID senior year, and of course, all the trouble we got into. Thank you.
Thank you, Dan. I would now like to invite graduate Cassie Kyle to come and give the introduction to our guest speaker, Ms. Kristen Kadiba.
Hello everyone, my name is Cassie Kyle, and today I have the great pleasure of introducing one of our class's favorite teachers, Kristen Kadiba. If you know Mrs. Kadiba, you know she is an incredible teacher, wife, SLC organizer, teacher, especially in math, but most importantly, role model. Mrs. Kadiba taught us math from grade 9 through grade 11. Unfortunately, for our senior year of high school, she moved to Greenall High School for a new experience and better opportunities. For me and many of my classmates, Mrs. Kadiba was a teacher we were comfortable going to for help. It didn't matter if it was school related or not. She's the kind of person everyone trusts, and we miss seeing her smile every day in the hallways and in the classroom. We are all so happy you are able to be here today. Join me in welcoming Mrs. Kadiba.
Thank you, Cassie. No, I'm going to be crying before I even start my speech. Good evening, ladies, gentlemen, family, friends, and most importantly, graduates. I am Kristen Kadiba, and I am a former teacher at RSS who taught this amazing class for 3 years. It is my great honor to be asked by this group to be their guest speaker for tonight's festivities. Leaving RSS was an extremely difficult decision for me, and this group sitting here tonight was one of the things that made leaving so hard. When you teach in a school in a community like this, it's impossible not to put groups and develop deep and meaningful connections. To be honest, the thought of giving a speech does not make me so nervous. It's the thought of actually writing the speech that scares me so much. I'll only do this for you guys. So I had to call in some reinforcements. I'm a math teacher, you guys. The first thing, obviously, is Google. I had to Google. I'm not kidding. I Googled, how do you write a grad speech? Then I got extremely distracted, as anyone does when they are Googling something. So my second reinforcement was Mrs. Stobbs. She had to come to my rescue to help me. The moral of this story is friends will always be there for you. You just have to ask for help sometimes. One of the joys of teaching in a small town is that I got to see the students grow up in this building. Not all of you started this journey together. Some of you have been here since kindergarten, and others have joined along the way. But the 21 of you have come together, and you have formed a powerful bond that none of you will forget. Being from a small town has formed you. It is who you are, and as you start your journey from a small town tonight, you will take with you every funny moment, every life lesson, and that this town has given you. You have learned how to get along with people here. You learned how to help people here. You learned what it means to build community and embrace the simple things. This small town, the people here tonight, the experiences that you had at Robert Southey School are in every part of you. It is where your world began. As teachers, we learn very quickly that the most memorable experiences in the classroom have absolutely nothing to do with the curriculums that we teach. Although I know that factoring and the quadratic formula are very important to you, I will let you in on a little secret. Teachers also treasure those extra moments, and our favorite things about teaching often have very little to do with the curriculums. I could go on and on about this group. Here are some of the things that I will always remember about you. Talks about farming. Always the talks about farming. The AV cart parade that we lost, I still think the judging was rigged. We should have won that, and Mrs. Gerard is putting her head down in shame right now. We should have won. I still believe that the judging was rigged. The time Andrew rode his bike all the way to Cupar, Jessica and Callie's love for Harry Potter, Aaron's very informative talks on any and all topics, the co-op, enough said, and did I mention the talks about farming? Online learning brought a whole new experience and a new set of memories, like the show and tell style of bringing animals to class, dead or alive, or everyone wearing different hats trying to outdo one another. And don't worry, the talks about farming still continued online. I was impressed with how you all rose to the occasion and kept on trucking during that difficult time. I have so many fond memories of this group, and I'm so appreciative of their hard work that they've always been the type of group to work hard, put their heads down, and just get it done. So many of you even took math classes that you didn't have to, just for the experience. How can I not love a group that takes math just for fun? I'm so proud of the contributions that you have made to Robert Southey School. You have had such a strong leadership and extracurricular presence in the school, from the sports teams to the drama clubs. You left your mark. And I will always remember the way that you brought extra clothing for each other on spirit days so that the whole class could be included and win. It's that dedication to your school and to your classmates that make you memorable. You start your journey here tonight. From here, which implies that you are going somewhere. From here to anywhere, everywhere. What you learned here will take you into the world. And even if you come back, it will never be the same as it is in this moment, tonight. You may never be back together, and it'll never be in the same way. And that's okay, because the people in this room will always be a part of your history, your support system, and your heart. So here are my words of advice. When you leave town for the last time, stop on the side of the road and look back. Take a moment. Take a long moment. Take it in and say goodbye. Then drive. Travel. Have adventures. Say yes. Do things that scare you. Do things that'll make people laugh. Do things that'll make you cry. Make new friends. Be bold. Be brave. Try new foods. See the world. Be geeky. I've perfected that one. Go against the crowd. Wear your good sweats. Be a dishwasher. Take a job that is beneath you and do it with gutso. Take a job that is above you and rise to the challenge. Know that you will screw up, and that's okay. We all screw up. Nothing is a failure, it's a lesson. Carry on. I know this year has not been the grade 12 year that you had dreamed of, A lot has been taken from you. You didn't get your last hurrah on the basketball court, the football field, or the drama stage. You didn't get to socialize and make new memories on the weekend. You didn't get to plan the grad that you had already always dreamed of. The loss is real and is your right to mourn. You have lost something that you can't get back. But I do have this to say to you. This graduating class of the pandemic, you are bigger and stronger and more resilient than all of that. As hard as this year has been, I believe that you will be stronger because of it. You have learned early on that life doesn't always go as planned. You have learned that things can and do change very quickly. You have learned to treasure the little things and the time you do have because you never know what is coming next. And most importantly, you have learned that you are made of good stuff. Good things come from small towns. Go out in the world or stay right here and be a part of the community. Don't just live your life, live your best life so that whenever people mention your town and your school, your name is always attached. Congratulations to the RSS graduating class of 2021. It has been an honor teaching you and being your guest speaker for this evening. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Kadiba. Truck exhaust wars in the parking lot at 8:47 a.m. Not a good excuse. We were trying to see how many of Du Bois we could fit inside the van at recess. But Mrs. H, you were even there. It only took us 21 guys to lift Keegan's car off the ground. We had to finish what we started. Sorry I'm late. I was cautiously driving down the grid road at noon today when a duck or something must have hit the back window of my truck and smashed it, and it all happened at the same time that I hit a really large bump. You know who you are. To help you get to know a little more about this graduating class, Kelsey Gartner and Jordan Moore will bring you memories of the graduates of 2021.
Hello, my name is Jordan Moore,
And I'm Kelsey Gartner.
and we are two of the 2021 RSS graduates.
Today we're going to share some of our favorite memories that our class has had throughout the years. We're going to call each graduate's name, and when we begin to talk about them, we ask each graduate to stand up.
To start off strong, I'm going to ask Randy to stand up.
Hey Jordan,
Yeah?
remember that one time in History 10 class when Andrew thought it was a clever idea to bring a 2-liter Pepsi bottle full of water to class with him?
And all the boys dared him to chug it?
And so he did, and then he projectile vomited all over the front of the classroom.
Oh yes, I do remember that. I'd say he's most likely to go into the plumbing business because he sure does love his water, and he's pretty good at cleaning it up too.
Next up is Julia.
Remember in grade 3 when Julia was playing on the swings?
Oh, and then everyone was telling her to jump off.
Exactly, and she face planted and broke her arm?
I do remember that, actually. I think Julia is most likely to work at Get Air because she knows how to get air, literally.
Ian, you're up.
I have 2 words. Canoe trip.
Are you talking about when he put a fish hook through his hand, or when him and Ryan dumped their canoe?
No, Jordan. I'm talking about when Ian was munching on raw ramen noodles on the water because he got hungry. Could have found any other snack.
Oh, right. So much happened on that trip for Ian. I'd say he's most likely to become a tour guide on one of those trips because he knows exactly what not to do.
We're now going to talk about Jocelyn.
Oh, Jocelyn. Remember back in grade 6?
Wait, who's Jocelyn? We're talking about Ironfoot.
Kelsey, slow down. I was just about to get to that. Let me paint a picture. 6th grade, phys ed class. We're playing kickball. Jocelyn is up to kick. She connects with the ball and an instant home run.
And the crowd goes wild. Ah.
You could have said that a little louder, but it's fine. Where are we? The boys will forever be jealous of your talent.
I mean, like, Jocelyn, would you mind doing a demonstration, or is it too restricting in your dress?
Well, Ironfoot is definitely making it to the pros with her powerhouse of a leg.
Jocelyn, we have embarrassed you enough tonight. You could sit back down. Tyson Kynes, you're up.
We all know that Tyson is the GOAT, except for when it comes to baking, that is.
Oh yes, back in Foods 10 when his group didn't add enough flour to his cookie batter.
Future tip, the flour is a very important ingredient.
Unless you're a fan of sheet cookies, that is. Tyson is most likely to become the next Gordon Ramsay.
Sierra is up next.
Hey Jordan, remember back in the day when Sierra went through every possible phase that you could imagine?
Of course, like the wannabe emo phase,
Or her Pirates of the Caribbean phase?
the screamo phase.
But I think the most memorable was back in grade 7 when Sierra was introduced to the movie Twilight and Jackson Rathbone.
Not only did she become a hardcore fangirl, she was also introduced to her first love. I think Sierra is most likely to end up getting arrested for trespassing if she ever finds out the address to Jackson Rathbone's house.
Ralphie, you're up next.
As we all know, Tyrell is very hard on equipment,
A prime example of this was a couple of months ago when the boys told him to go off-roading,
so he did.
and he hit a drainage ditch.
15 feet later, the truck finally landed, and one of the windows shattered.
The boys came back to school like it was nothing, with smiles on their faces and a little blood spilled.
I'd say Tyrell is most likely to become a stunt double because he likes to live on the wild side.
Jessica's up next.
I think everyone knows that the canoe trip was an exciting time, and Jessica took an exciting spill down the side of a cliff.
Right down into a bush, saving herself from the chilly water, while also holding onto a tree, her paddle, and her bag.
I think Jessica is most likely to climb Mount Everest because she already knows what it's like climbing back up a cliff.
Ryan and Aaron, please stand up.
In the 9th grade, during an arts ed class, they were gone to practice their play in the tuck shop room.
And Aaron found a bottle of bleach. He went to toss the bottle on the shelf, but didn't realize that the shelf wasn't right against the wall.
The bottle of bleach fell behind the shelf, and so Ryan climbed back there to grab the bottle.
But the bottle opened, and the bleach started running everywhere, coming from under the shelf and covering their clothes.
The only reason they didn't get suspended was because their clothes were completely ruined.
The hallway smelt like a large pool. I'd say that these two are most likely to open their own pool one day because if they're going to spill bleach, they might as well spill it into some water and make some money out of it.
Next up is Alex.
As we know, Alex has basically lived at the doctor's the past couple years. He's had 2 hand surgeries, an abdominal surgery, and a few checkups for a certain nose injury.
Oh yes, way back in grade 7, all the boys decided to lay in a circle on their tummies as us girls ran across their backs.
Me, being the clumsy person I am, slip and land right on Alex's head, bashing his nose into the ground and giving Alex a severe nosebleed.
Little did Alex know that he would be getting violent nosebleeds for years after as a result of that incident. And when he went to the doctor, he found out that he has permanent damage to his nose. His nosebleeds would occur randomly, and even after a sneeze.
I think Alex is most likely to become a crime scene investigator because he already has to deal with all the gory details.
Now we would like Cassie to stand up.
During elementary school, our class participated in coloring contests throughout the years,
And Cassie won every single time.
with the same rainbow color palette for each picture. Didn't even stay inside the lines, but whatever, I'm not hurt.
As you can tell, this is still a touchy subject for the sore losers.
Cassie is most likely to star in a Skittles commercial because, taste the rainbow, right?
Next up is Dan.
Our class has been participating in prank wars since the 10th grade. Dane has been a big participator,
He even took the license plate off my car once and hid it.
but we have pranked him a few good times too.
A good example of this was earlier this school year when Kelsey and I filled his truck with balloons.
He couldn't even see out his back window, his truck was that full of balloons. To say the least, Jordan and I were out of breath after that.
Watching Dan leave that day was hilarious because all you could see was the balloons and Dan's head sticking out.
I think that Dane is most likely to become a party planner because he already has all the supplies.
Ren, you're up.
Ren used to be a big troublemaker if you didn't know that already.
Back in the 6-7 split, Ren just could not be contained.
Like one day during class, we were watching a movie on a book we just finished reading, and Ren was so bad that she didn't even feel like watching.
Instead, she decided to play this little piggy on Owen's toes and immediately got sent to the office for her bad behavior. Ren is most likely to become a butcher because she likes to take those little piggies to the market.
Tamara, you're up. How do we say that?
It's been hard to think of a good memory for Tamara.
That's probably because she ditched us as soon as we entered high school.
Oh yes, gone to Melville, only returning after hockey season. I would say Tamara's most likely become a flight attendant because she is always leaving, but she always comes back.
There's one other thing that we can embarrass Tamara about.
We all love discussing our elementary boyfriends, so we're gonna take it back to the 6th grade. Tyson Zarowski, you might as well join Tamara standing.
Tamara and Tyson were the cutest class couple.
They even had their own song, but we'll keep that information classified to protect their innocence.
Cop Car by Keith Urban.
Kelsey, you weren't supposed to say that.
Sorry, I'm a gossip.
Tamara, you can sit down now. Kelsey ruined this.
Tyson, do you remember when you got that pencil stuck in your hand? Because honestly, I don't, but everyone else seems to remember.
Whack things happen in the computer lab, what can I say?
I guess Tyson has learned not to slam his hands down on the table so aggressively now because you never know what sharp objects could be lurking around. Tyson is most likely to become a carpenter because he likes to keep his pencils on hand.
Next up is Parker.
Parker has always been a trendsetter. I remember back in the 7th grade when Miss Schmidt would bring out the dojo points.
Parker always got upset because every time it came on the board, he would lose points.
And so he started throwing his hat at the board every single time he would lose points. And shortly after, all the other boys started doing it too.
Even now, Parker bought a riding lawnmower to drive to school when his truck and hoverboard weren't cool enough. I wonder how long it will take for the other boys to start doing it too. Parker is most likely to work at a golf course, cutting grass with that new lawnmower.
Next up is Callie.
We've talked about the canoe trip a lot, but Callie had a pretty memorable day on that trip.
Because of the stormy weather and rank winds, the boys and girls ended up getting paired together. So Callie and Aaron ended up being canoeing partners.
This did not go over well. There was a lot of tension and yelling on their canoe that day.
Let's settle. This is still a touchy subject.
All I'm saying is that Callie was ready to tip Aaron out of the canoe and leave him for the fishes.
I think Callie is most likely to become a bodybuilder because she did all the working out that day, paddling the canoe.
Next up is Joshy.
We all know Josh to be quite the ladies' man.
First is marriage to Jocelyn in the 3rd grade. Sadly, that didn't work out.
Most recently, though, Joshy got himself a pretty saggy truck, and since then, he's had all the girls wrapped around his fingers. He even won the heart of a certain 11th grader.
Whom escorted him today, but we don't say names.
I think Josh is most likely to become a loving husband because he has such a big heart for all his lady friends.
Josh, since you are blushing, you can take a seat. I guess the only people left to talk about are us.
Surprisingly, a lot of people think we look like twins, especially at co-op when they ask us if we work on both sides because they just saw us on the other side.
But we just don't see it. Kelsey, do you remember when we went gunnel jumping on the canoe trip?
Yes, you biffed almost immediately.
And you were too scared to come help me by yourself, so you took your sweet time to get into the water and then had to turn back around to get Alex to help you. I don't know where I am. Meanwhile, I was freezing in the water.
I mean, stuff happens, but Jordan, do you remember that one time you hit me in the face with a plastic baseball bat?
Do you remember that time you stabbed me with a pencil?
Hey, that wasn't my fault. But do you remember that time you threw a log at my face?
That totally wasn't my fault. We were doing an assembly line and you didn't catch it.
Okay, we're getting off topic. We are most likely to become plastic surgeons to change our looks completely so people stop mixing us up.
As you can tell, our entire class has made a lot of memories together, and it's sad to see that our time together is coming to an end.
We have prepared a short video to show all of the memories we have made together as a class. I think so.
Thank you, Kelsey and Jordan. Amazing job. As we let the tech team get ready for our next video, which will follow shortly, just a few more excuses. Ms. McDermott, I think, needs to help some of you do the math on this one because you cannot possibly drive to Regina for a McDonald's run at noon and make it back to school on time, not without being stopped. Don't learn something the hard way. It's mathematically impossible. Question for Tyrell. How do you actually join a Google Meet while you're herding cows in the valley? Mr. Krupe and Mr. Andrews seriously want to know. Or, sorry, I didn't hear all the directions on the Google Meet class this morning. Could you re-explain the assignment, please? There were 3 of us in the truck driving down Highway 6 when we joined. We were going to Regina for parts. This was in December. Were they Massey parts? John Deere parts? Tyson Kynes has put together tonight's video tribute to the grads.
For the sky, you don't know what the rain's worth till it finds
Thank you so much, Tyson. Great job. All right, we're going to now move on with our awards part of our program. So when I call your name, you'll need to come up here and you'll grab the award. For the first 3 awards, we have Mrs. Lisa Grudinsky and Mr. Luke Laramino here. So the first award is the Prairie Valley School Division presents a leadership award, student leadership award, to the student who best displays the attributes of a leader in their school and community and who has made a significant contribution to the school. This year's recipient is Jordan Moore. So Jordan, please come up and get the plaque. Yeah. Congratulations, Jordan. Also presented by Lisa Grudinsky, the Prairie Valley School Division presents a Student Success Award to recognize the success of students with diverse or intensive needs. This year's recipient is Julia Nixon. Got it? Congratulations, Julia. Our next presenter is Mr. Luke Laramino. Our former Director of Education, Mr. Ben Grabinski, sponsors an achievement award to a student who has been active in school-related athletics, the arts, and has earned honor roll status. The recipient this year is Andrew Billick. Again, for the remaining awards, we ask the graduates to please proceed to the awards table, collect your award, and then go back to the marked areas for photos. Our next award is the Elliott Humanitarian Award. This award is sponsored by the Elliott family in honor of Gerald and Glenda Elliott, who dedicated their lives to the education and well-being of children and youth. The award is presented to the grade 12 student who lives the values of honesty, integrity, and responsibility, with a demonstrated commitment to the school and the greater community. With respect, positivity, and kindness, this leader has made a difference in the lives of others by helping to create a school environment where everyone belongs. This student promotes and models friendship, cooperation, and a safe, welcoming, and caring school culture. This year's recipient, so well-deserving, is Tyson Kynes. Congratulations, Tyson. The Prairie Valley Teachers Association is committed to promoting teaching and education in the youth of our division. Each year, the PVTA offers scholarships to graduates of Prairie Valley schools who are entering the field of education. This year, the PVTA offered 6 scholarships of $700 each. This year, Robert Southey School had 2 successful applicants. Congratulations to Tamara Knapp and Kelsey Gardner. Tamara, come up, and Kelsey. You have chosen a difficult but rewarding profession, and future students will be lucky to have you as a teacher. And then just wait for her to have her photo. Congratulations to you both. The Earl Grey Credit Union Scholarship of $750 is presented to the student who's pursuing post-secondary education and has the most improved average from grade 11 to grade 12. This year's recipient is Tamara Knapp. a good thing you're wearing flats for the long walk. Congratulations. The Connexus Credit Union Leadership Award of $1,500 is presented to the graduating student who demonstrates cooperative spirit, community involvement, and leadership. This year's recipient is Ren Hubick. Sherwood Co-op Scholarship of $500 is presented to the student who is an employee or his or her parents are employees of Sherwood Co-op and they've displayed cooperative attitude in school and extracurricular activities. We have 3 recipients this year. Would the first recipient please come up? Ren Hubick. Our second recipient is Kelsey Gartner. And our third recipient is Jordan Moore. Congratulations to all 3. The Southey and District Lions Club of $500 scholarship is presented to the student who's entering post-secondary education and has demonstrated service and dedication to their school. Recipient for this year is Julia Nixon. Southey Legion Branch number 350 scholarship of $250 is presented to the student who is a relative of a Southey Legion member or is pursuing a career in protective services. We have 2 recipients this year. The first recipient is Ian Davies. And as Ian's having his picture taken, our second recipient is Ryan Queenan. The Flaman Group of Companies Award of $500 is presented to the student that demonstrates dedication and hard work at school, balanced with the candidate's commitments to leadership, citizenship, and volunteerism. The recipient is Kelsey Gartner. The Tamara Schmidt Memorial Award of $300 is presented to the student with future plans to work with young children or animals who demonstrated school and community involvement. There are 2 recipients this year. The first recipient is Callie Shirley. The second recipient is Dayan Schmidt. The Robert Southey School English Excellence Award of $200, sponsored by Robert Southey School Yearbook Committee, is presented to the student with the highest average in 10, 20, and 30 English language arts classes and ELA optional classes. Many chased this individual, but the recipient is Tyson Kintz. Tyson, you may as well just stay here. The Robert Southey School Math Excellence Award of $200 is sponsored by the RSS Student Leadership Council and is presented to the student with the highest average in all of the following: 2 Math 10, 2 Math 20, 3 Math 30 courses. Recipient, Tyson Kintz. Don't go anywhere yet. Yankel Physical Science Award of $1,000 is presented to the student with the highest average in Physical Science 20, Chemistry 30, and Physics 30. Recipient, Tyson Kintz. We're almost done. The June Gale Biology Award of $100 is presented to a student with the highest mark in Biology 30. Congratulations, Tyson Kintz. You may now have your picture taken. South Country Farm Equipment Scholarship of $500 is presented to the graduating student who displays perseverance and diligence as a student, is involved in the community, and is pursuing a career in Saskatchewan's agricultural sector. This year's recipient is Dayan Schmidt. The Nutrien Ag Solutions Scholarship of $500 is awarded to the student who's pursuing post-secondary education in the field of agriculture. Recipient is Callie Shirley. The U of R Entrance Award. There are 4 recipients. We'll have them come up one at a time, please. Andrew Billick, $1,000. Tamara Knapp, $1,500. Should we all wave? Jocelyn Larson, $3,000. And Julia Nixon, $3,000. The U of S also gives entrance awards. Our first recipient is Dayan Schmidt, $500. Callie Shirley, $500. Jordan Moore, $3,000. And Tyson Kintz, $3,000. Other post-secondary awards we have here this evening to present are the Business Administrative Excellence Entrance Scholarship. This was awarded to Jocelyn Larson for $1,000. We also have the Saskatchewan Youth Apprenticeship Award of $1,000 given to Josh Birkin. I'll now call on Mrs. Istash to present the honor roll.
A pin and an honor roll certificate is given to students whose average is from 80 to 89.4%. The recipients this year are Jessica Sherwood, Erin Haberstock, Ren Hubick, Alex Moore, Kelsey Gartner, Callie Shirley, Dayan Schmidt, Sierra Siebert, and Andrew Billick. Students with great distinction receive a pin, an academic medal, and an honor roll certificate with an average between 89.5 and 100%. The recipients this year are Cassie Kyle, and Tamara Knapp. And now we have our first to fourth place highest marks. In fourth place with great distinction, Jocelyn Larson. In third place, with great distinction, Julia Nixon. In second place, also with great distinction, Jordan Moore. And in first place, with great distinction, Tyson Kynes. Congrats, Tyson.
We will now have the presentation of diplomas. So again, just with our new ways of protocol here, we'll have you come up and get your diploma as I call your name, and I will say what your plans are for the future. So Joshua Birkin. Josh is attending Parkland College for Agricultural Equipment Technician. Andrew Billick. Andrew's attending University of Regina for a degree in kinesiology and then plans to attend the University of Saskatchewan for pharmacy. Ian Davies. Ian is planning to join the Canadian Armed Forces. He says, impressive. Kelsey Gardner. Kelsey is attending the Faculty of Education at the University of Regina to become an elementary teacher. Aaron Haberstock. Aaron is attending Minot State University, pursuing a degree in science. Ren Hubick. Ren is in the University of Saskatchewan and the Faculty of Arts and Science to pursue a degree in nursing. Tyson Kynes. Tyson is attending the University of Saskatchewan for engineering. Cassie Kyle. Cassie has applied to primary care paramedic and also plans to work and travel. Tamara Knapp. Tamara is attending University of Regina to pursue a bachelor's degree in secondary education. Jocelyn Larson. Jocelyn is attending University of Regina for business administration. Alex Moore. Alex plans to join the 12 to Trades program and then begin working as an electrician. Jordan Moore. Jordan is attending University of Saskatchewan for the Arts and Science program. She plans on pursuing a degree in nursing. Parker Namath. Parker plans to join the workforce, and his future plans may include pursuing a degree in business. Julia Nixon. Julia is attending the University of Regina Saskatoon campus for pre-social work. Ryan Queenan. Ryan is pursuing a career in the Canadian Armed Forces as an infantry soldier. Callie Shirley. Callie is attending the University of Saskatchewan for animal bioscience. Dane Schmidt. Dane is attending the University of Saskatchewan for a degree in agribusiness. Jessica Sherwood. Jessica plans to join the workforce and pursue post-secondary plans in the future. Sierra Siebert. Sierra plans to take a year off and pursue post-secondary education in the future. Tyrell Wagner. Tyrell plans on entering the workforce and farming, of course. Tyson Zarowski. Tyson plans on entering the workforce, and he asked me to add, and farming, of course. All right, as we near our close of our ceremonies here, a few more pieces of excuses and questions I still have. Is this a valid excuse? Another piece of Alex's truck fell off today on the way to school, and we all had to evaluate the damage to make sure it was still drivable. Safety first, you know. Driving around town at noon, cranking Florida-Georgia line with the windows down, just looking cool. Waiting for my buddy so we can be late together. Like that's a real one. Early morning football practice just wiped me out. I was in no shape for school after that. Or procrastination is an art form that's taken me years to develop a solid grasp on. Now it's just part of my beautiful soul. It's a philosophy, really. It's hard to explain. All not very good excuses. I would like to ask Ren Hubick, though, to come up and deliver the closing remarks for her class. Oh, I'm so sorry. Tyson Kynes was next. Tyson's Kynes, the valedictorian address. Pardon me. I'm sorry, Tyson.
Good afternoon, honored guests, administrators, teachers and staff, family, friends, all those viewing at home, and of course, my fellow graduates of the class of 2021. I feel a great deal of privilege to stand here on behalf of my peers to deliver these words. I'd like to first start off by thanking everyone who has played such a crucial role in helping us to get to this stage today. Thank you to all who have been there for us every step of the way. Thank you, teachers, for putting up with us for the last 13 years and sticking with us no matter how much hair we've caused you to pull out. And most of all, thank you, parents, for always loving and supporting us no matter what. We really couldn't have done it without you. To my fellow classmates, today is the day that we finally graduate. This is the day that many of us have been both fearing and anticipating for years because it is a huge milestone. A milestone that marks the end of childhood and the beginning of our adult lives. Each of us has had our own unique experiences to get to this point, but fortunately, in one way or another, our paths have crossed and allowed for us to share in this great achievement, an achievement that no one should discredit. We've come a long way together ever since first stepping into Robert Southey School, which for many of us all began in Mrs. Friesen's kindergarten classroom. And even though today marks the nearing of the end of our time together as a class, we will still always possess the memories that we have created together inside and outside of this building. When I leave here, I'm going to carry those memories with me and remember the times we had together. I always remember playing railroad and grounders on the playground at recess. I'll remember the locker room chats and the time spent together representing our school playing sports. I can remember sitting up late around the fire every night in our canoe trip. And of course, I'll always remember the occasional time that we did something that drove Mrs. Fleming to tell us to knock it off in the hallways. These are just a few of the countless memories, most of which I don't have time to list. If I'm being totally honest, I really struggled to write this next part of my speech because I just couldn't seem to find the right words that I felt were adequate enough to give an appropriate send-off to the next chapters in everyone's life. In this process of banging my head against the wall and hoping ideas would fall out, I made a realization. I realized that there is now a forehead-shaped hole in the drywall, and side note, if my dad is listening, I have no idea how it got there. But then, while staring at the wall, I made another realization. How in the world am I supposed to deliver a proper message about transitioning to the next part of life if I haven't been there or done that yet? So instead, I'll just discuss the important things I learned along the way. Here it goes. If school has taught me anything, it's as follows. A, don't ever leave your lunch unattended, because someone will most definitely mess with it. Learned that one from the old wasabi in the sandwich trick from grade 8. B, don't get too close to an angry muskrat, because they do bite, and as Josh knows, their teeth go through rubber boots without any issue. Finally, arguably, most importantly, it's taught me that if you don't know the answer to something, you should definitely just draw a picture. But in all seriousness, this last year during the pandemic has provided me with a lot of time to reflect on life, and it's really taught me a lot. The thing that I draw most from this time is that life is unpredictable. You could think for one moment that you have a plan all figured out, but then, as we discovered, out of the blue, things can suddenly and drastically change. We all had our own visions of how our final year of school was going to go, but then in a matter of a few weeks, that all changed. I mean, looking back 2 years ago, sitting in Mr. Meyer's History 10 class, could any of us imagine ever having to wear diapers on our faces out in public or having to learn from a computer at home? Of course not. Our only worry at the time was not getting soaked by the geyser of water spraying from the front row. The truth is, the future is very uncertain, but at the same time, it's the uncertainty that keeps it fresh and exciting. The point being that if you don't have it all figured out right now, that's okay. Don't waste your time now freaking out about what you should do with the rest of your life or who you should be. Instead, think about what you have right now. Because even if you think you have it all figured out, something could very well come along and change everything. A wise man once told me, it's okay to not know what you want to be right now. Just start down a path and you can always change your mind later. This resonates with me more now than it did at the time because of what the pandemic has taught me about life. We all have our individual strengths and our own place in this world, and in due time we will find what that is. But until then, don't forget to work hard, but also to play hard because you never know what is coming next. I'd like to share with you the words of a famous doctor. That doctor's name was, of course, Dr. Seuss. He said, if things start happening, don't worry, don't stew, just go right along and you'll start happening too. I know this was written in an old children's book, but like a fine wine, the meaning just ripens with age. The world is unpredictable, but there is no need to fear. You'll do amazing things if you take the chances when the right opportunities present themselves to you. Even though today marks the end of this part of life, with that end also means that there's a new beginning right around the corner. Not everything may have gone exactly how you planned to up to this point, but nonetheless, that's what kept it interesting. Going forward, no matter what challenge lies ahead, know that all of you are going to go on to do great things in this crazy, unpredictable world. Don't let life's unexpected turns keep you down. Instead, take the challenge head on, see where it takes you. Thank you.
Sorry, I would now like to call on Ren to come forward to deliver the closing marks for her class.
Good evening, everyone. On behalf of this year's graduating class, I would like to thank everyone for being here either in person or watching from home to celebrate our class and all of our accomplishments. This year has been tough for everyone, but we made it through with the help of all of you guys. As most of the boys would say, it's the way she goes. Thank you to the teachers, special guests, presenters, and most importantly, our parents for making this day so special and giving us the celebration that we deserve. As Robert Schuller once said, tough times never last, but tough people do. When I look over at my classmates, I see a group of some of the toughest people I've ever met. We've been through more this year than most can say they have in their life, but we handled it with dignity and poise. So once again, I thank all of you sitting here watching for giving us the strength to push through and embrace the year. I wish all my classmates the very best for the future and hope that everyone has a fun and safe weekend, celebrating one of the greatest accomplishments we have done thus far. Thank you.
All right, I'd like to give a special thank you to Cody Manson-Crahenbill and Pro AV for the technical assistance he's given us this evening for doing the streaming and for our great video setup here this evening that we wouldn't have been able to see with the sun without his help. So thank you very much to Pro AV and Cody. As stated earlier, grads, you've reached your milestone. And even though through tough times, your resilience is something to share with your own children someday. You've earned the right to brag a little. I also mentioned earlier whether it was through collaborative excuses or resilience or your humor, acceptance, empathy, and kindness, you've maneuvered your way to this milestone. You've maneuvered your way to the milestone on the side of the road together. I hope you remember the words of John Donne from ELAB 30 at some point in your life as you make your way towards your future mile markers. Because no man is an island, entire of itself. Best wishes, and we'll see you on Monday for a pop quiz. Don't be late. Before the graduates walk out, I'd like to ask the parents for their assistance in ensuring everything from under your son or daughter's chair is taken home at the end of the evening. And we ask, if possible, if you please stack your chairs 6 in your individual pods. That would certainly help us with our cleanup this evening. So they just come up here and get that on the way out? Okay. So we'll now begin with our procession out. Josh Birkin, son of Kim Birkin and the late Trevor Birkin. Come up this way, Josh. Okay. Andrew Billick, son of David and Andrea Billick. Ian, no, yep, sorry, proceed out. If you're, yeah. Yeah. Okay, you give your rose to your family and then proceed out. Yeah, it's okay. Ian Davies, son of Ryan and Vanessa Davies. Kelsey Gardner, daughter of Jeremy and Tina Gardner. Yeah, Aaron Haberstock, son of Dean and Roxanne Haberstock. Ren Hubick, daughter of Sean and Shauna Hubick. Tyson Kynes, son of Ryan and Jackie Kynes. Cassie Kyle, daughter of Jason and Ivy Kyle. Tamara Knapp, daughter of Jeremy and Roxanne Knapp. Jocelyn Larson, daughter of Trent and Sandy Larson. Alex Moore, son of Ross and Patty Moore. Jordan Moore, daughter of Trevor and Patricia Moore. Parker Namath, son of Randy and Kathleen Namath. Julia Nixon, daughter of Robert and Deborah Nixon. Ryan Queenan, son of Russell and Nikki Queenan. Callie Shirley, daughter of Michael and Cheryl Shirley. Dan Schmidt, son of Dan and Donna Schmidt. Jessica Sherwood, daughter of Sean Sherwood and the late Tamalee Sherwood. Sierra Siebert, daughter of Russell and Shauna Siebert. Tyrell Wagner, son of Daryl and Marianne Wagner. Tyson Zarowski, son of Dan and Sunday Zarowski. This concludes the Robert Southey School graduation ceremonies for 2021. Congratulations, graduates. Have a safe and enjoyable weekend.